Guys, I got a pretty serious problem on my hands. I'm in desperate need for a new studio desk. You see, the current one I have now has been great, but the thing is, I've outgrown it. I'm at the point where I've actually collected enough gear where I can't sit it all on my desk. I've either had to put it away in a closet or, oh God, this is so embarrassing, but I've literally had to zip tie it to the bottom of my desk just to be able to use it on a daily basis. This is not the ideal situation and it's not a permanent solution. So, what's a guy to do? Well, I, like every other engineer, go on Google and look for studio desks. I look at the prices and oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? These prices are astronomical. This is so dumb. We just want to be able to have a studio desk to put our gear in. We don't want to be spending thousands of dollars on a desk. We'd rather be spending that money on outboard gear that we know is going to make a difference to our sound in the end result. This is ridiculous, but you know what? I said to myself, maybe this is just the name of the game. This is just how it is. So I go ahead, I look on reverb.com, I look at Guitar Center, I look at Sam Ash, I've looked at Sweetwater, looked everywhere, and I came really to the same problems. Either the desks were too expensive for what I was willing to pay, or the other problem was even if I had the cash or was willing to spend it, manufacturers don't usually have these desks on inventory. They actually wait for you to pay first, and then after that, they'll start building your desk. This can be problematic because it can take weeks, if not months, for you to receive your desk. I need a desk sooner than that. So I decided to look in the one place I never thought I was actually going to look for a desk, Amazon.com. Yes, the same place you get your next day deliveries. Can they have something that's possibly a suitable option for you? Well, I type in studio desk, I scroll down, not having much hope, and then, wait a minute. What is this thing? The Acme Furniture Studio Days ACME, whatever the heck the name of it is. Look at this thing. This thing's freaking awesome. And wait a minute, is that really the price? Can you really have a desk this awesome for less than 600 bucks? Well, that's what we're gonna find out in today's video. But before we actually look into it, let's go ahead and roll that intro. Okay, so to be fair, I have a very specific thing that I'm looking for. You see, I have a 34-inch curved monitor as well as my HS7s that I have on my desk. Now, if you don't need that type of real estate, you could vote to go for something smaller, say the Rab Audio Pro Rack LS840 Studio Workstation, wow, what a name, which is a desk that they sell on Sweetwater. It's more of a smaller format. It's only about 40 inches in length, and it even has 2 bays with 4 rack units, which is great. That lets you to be able to put a lot of gear in it without taking, again, too much real estate. If you have monitor stands, that makes it even better for you. But for me, again, I need something that was a little bit longer. Now, one contender I was looking at was actually the AZ Workstation Artista. This looks awesome. I think it looks really good. I mean, if you take a look at it, it's very clean, it's very simple, and it's even got a tray for you to put your keyboard in as well. The problem was the price. They start at $1,500 if you get the black or white one, and the other ones would be more expensive. Not only that, that doesn't include shipping, which you have to pay for as well. The other problem I also had was after reaching out to AZ Studio Workstations, they told me that they don't have this in stock, and after I purchased it, it would take about 7 weeks until I would actually receive it. And look, this video is not to knock on any specific company or make them look bad. It's just the reality of the situation is I'm looking for something sooner and 7 weeks is too long. That's where, again, I found this ACME or Acme Studio Desk on Amazon, and it has a lot of what I need. I mean, the first thing is that they have 2 different models. They have the 2-bay or the 3-bay desk. For my particular situation, I opted to go with the 2-bay. The reason why is I wanted to have more real estate in the middle for my monitor. If you're someone who wants a little bit more space for your rack gear, you can vote to go for the 3-bay. It does cost a little bit more money, but less than $100 more from the smaller version. So at this price point, it's worth giving it a shot to see how it works. So I went ahead and ordered already. So what we're going to do is actually go ahead and time lapse over to when I finally receive this desk. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, so it's been less than a week and the desk is finally here. And guys, I can't tell you how excited I am that this has finally arrived. Now, I will say when you do order this thing, just make sure you have someone at the door because they will require a signature. Also, it would not be a bad idea to have an extra set of hands because one box weighs 110 pounds and the other one is 30. So having someone to be able to assist you bringing it into your home would probably be a good idea. All right, so now that it's finally arrived, let's go ahead and take a look of me and my studio after I've already disassembled my old desk and start building this new one. Let's go ahead and check this out. Assembly of the desk was actually quite easy. All the parts were neatly organized, so you knew exactly what you needed to be using at any given time during the build. Now, as you can see here in the video, the first thing we did was took the top platform and lay it down And then we went ahead and installed our legs. Once those were secured, we then went ahead and took the pieces for the keyboard tray and got those set up next. After that was finished, we went ahead and took the bottom platform, putting it on top of the legs, and then bolting it down with the screws that they provided. Once that was situated, we went ahead and installed the casters, and we were finally ready to go ahead and flip this thing over. And now you can start to see this thing is finally coming to life. In fact, here's what the finished product looks like after I went ahead and installed the keyboard tray and the shelves. But you know what? This cell phone footage isn't really doing it much justice, so let's go ahead and look at some B-roll footage. All right, so I think the desk looks great, but we can't simply say whether the desk is good or bad based on how it looks. You know, we can't just judge it only on its appearance. In fact, that's only 1 out of 5 categories I plan to go ahead and rate this desk on. Now, to go ahead and explain how I plan on actually reviewing this desk, what I've done is come up with 5 different categories we're gonna go ahead and give a score to. Now, in each one of those categories, we're gonna be starting with 10 points. Coming up with a perfect score. However, as we find what I consider to be any significant findings that I think might diminish the value of this desk, we'll go ahead and start deducting points. Once we've completed that, we're gonna take our total points and combine them together to see what that final number will be. We'll divide that by 50, which will give us a percentage, and that will be the final percentage score for the desk. So let's go ahead and look next at what categories we'll go ahead and be scoring for this desk. The first category will go ahead and be shipping. Next will be the appearance, then the materials, then we'll look into functionality, and then lastly, price to value. I feel these 5 different categories make up a really good set of pillars on how to fairly score this desk. So let's go ahead and look at that first one again, which again is shipping and handling. But before we jump into the next part of the video, I would ask if you are enjoying this content to please consider subscribing. And again, if you do like this video, go ahead and leave a like. Lastly, if there are some topics you would like for me to cover in future videos, go ahead and leave a comment. I do read all my comments and I love to know my viewers' opinions. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. So to start off this section, I just want to go ahead and remind you that the anticipated date for delivery with other companies was going to be weeks, if not months. However, when I ordered this desk, the estimated delivery date was going to be after 10 days. Now, I was surprised to get the desk after 5 days, so obviously this is a very welcome surprise. Very happy about this, but just keep in mind in case you decide to order the desk yourself, it could take that full 10 days. The next great thing is that all the pieces of the desk came in perfect condition. Nothing was damaged. This is very good because the last thing you want to do is have to deal with customer service in case something broke and delay having to build this desk any longer. So I was very happy about that. However, I will say there was one thing I was kind of disappointed about in this category. When your desk arrives, it actually comes in 2 separate boxes, one large box and one small box. For the large box, it actually contains all of the larger pieces, such as the top and bottom panels, as well as the shelving and the legs as well. Now, there was one problem though. In the larger box, it did have styrofoam in it. However, it was completely destroyed. This allowed for all the pieces inside of the box to shift and move freely within the box itself. This could have potentially led to damage, and I guess I just got lucky. So that is something that I wish I would have seen been approved on. I don't know if that's a warehouse issue, but because of this reason, I'm gonna go ahead and deduct 1 point just for this reason alone. With this point deducted, we now have a total of 9 out of 10. So let's go ahead and move on to the next category, which is going to be its appearance. I believe that it goes without saying that I think this desk looks great. Now, I think a large reason as to why this desk looks so sleek and professional looking has to do with its finish. It's using this fake dark wood finish that they provided. Obviously, with a desk at this price point, it'd be very hard to find something made out of real wood. But again, I have to give credit to Acme. They did a really good job of being able to have this nice, clean look on all the areas from all the different viewing angles. The only areas that do not have the finishing is going to be the bottom of the wooden panels, which of course are unfinished. However, again, it looks great, something that you would be very proud to have in your own studio and something that you'd be proud to go ahead and share with new clients when they go ahead and tour your studio. Though I really do enjoy the aesthetics of this desk, there is one thing I wish they had improved on, and that's going to be this 1 1/4 inch gap that there is at the last rack unit and the desk itself. Now, I'm assuming that this gap is here so that way you can go ahead and feed your cables through, say for phone chargers or headphone jacks, which is very great to have that. Some desks, there's no gaps at all, and you don't even have a space in order to go ahead and feed your keyboards and your mouse as well. So having this is great. However, I think this clearance is a little bit too exaggerated because that at certain viewing angles, you can actually see some of the cables from your outboard gear. And obviously that just might be kind of an unsightly sight to have to see. So if they had went ahead and maybe made this clearance a little bit smaller, it would have prevented that. But because of this reason, I have to go ahead and deduct another point, bringing us 9 out of 10 on the appearance. Still a high score, just it's the only thing I wish they had improved on. Moving on to the next section, we're going to be looking at the material and quality of the desk. The desk is made in Taiwan, but remember, just because something is made overseas doesn't mean that it's necessarily low in quality. In fact, the reason that it's made overseas is so that way you can keep the cost down, which we can see reflected in the price. Again, this desk is less than $600, which I can appreciate. Now, when I looked at the Amazon listing to see what type of material the desk was made out of, it just said wood. Didn't say what type, just wood. I thought that was kind of funny, but you know what? If I had to guess, I would assume that the desk is made out of MDF, and there's nothing wrong with that. The desk is structurally sound. I feel very comfortable putting all of my equipment on here. In fact, every piece of this desk I feel is very structurally sound except for one piece, and that's going to be the casters. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about. This, unfortunately, is a big red flag for me. You see, the casters are there so that way it makes it easy for you to go ahead and push or pull your desk away from a wall. It's perfect for those situations where you want to get behind the desk to work on some cable management or work on your outboard gear that you might be trying to install into the racks. However, if your desk is sitting on a surface area that has a lot of friction, say carpet, and you try pushing your desk, the wheels actually create a point where it might make it easy for the desk itself to either wobble or tilt. Not an ideal situation. Now, you might be able to resolve this issue by simply either replacing the original casters with larger ones that have more surface area contact with the floor. Another one would be to go ahead and replace them with feet in case you know it's going to be stationary. Or lastly, if you can't do either of the two, is once you have your desk in place, not to move it at all. Either way though, this is not the ideal situation, and I can see this being a potential safety issue or a situation where it can lead to a very expensive accident with all your gear inside of the desk. So because of this, I have to at least deduct 4 points. This unfortunately brings our score down significantly in this category to a mere 6 out of 10. And you know what, to be honest, if it wasn't for the casters, I probably would not have deducted any points at all, but this is the reality of the situation. And with that said, let's move on to the next category. Let's go ahead and shift gears and talk about a category where I feel this desk really shines, and that's in its functionality. To start off, the desk does include 2 bays, each one with the ability to hold up to 4 units of gear in each bay. This should be able to suffice most engineers. However, if you do need more space, again, there is a 3-bay version of this desk. One additional item that I do appreciate about the bays is that they're tilted. This is great compared to their flat counterparts because I always found them to be a little bit more ergonomic for your wrist, meaning that you're less likely to have strain if you're having to work on outboard gear for longer periods of time. One last item I'll go ahead and talk about the bays is the fact that they're actually angled outwards towards the end of the desk. They also include their shelves on the top, which allow you to go ahead and set your monitors on top of them. This makes it easy for when you want to go ahead and set up your monitors in an equilateral triangle from your listening position. Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. If you're concerned about where you're going to be able to fit all your gear, don't worry. The tabletop is quite large. In fact, the dimensions is 70 inches by 40, not including the area that's taken out by the bays. However, even with that taken out, there's still a lot of space for your own personal items to be set on the table. I was able to comfortably fit 2 laptops, a 7-inch tablet, 2 phones, headphones, and additional other items, including my mouse and keyboard, comfortably and still have plenty of space. Now, it would be a disservice not to take a moment and talk about the keyboard tray. The tray itself is 38 inches in length, which should be able to accommodate most MIDI controller configurations, excluding 88 keys. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have the width. Now, with that being said, I was able to fit my M-Audio Oxygen 49 MIDI controller and have approximately 5 inches of space left over on each side. This is perfect, so I was able to go ahead and store some additional studio gear that I don't use frequently, but however, have it nearby me for whenever I need it. Another aspect about this desk that I really do like is actually the 24-inch space between the 2 bays. This allows for most PC monitors to fit here comfortably without any issues. Now, I did mention I do have a 34-inch monitor, so obviously this does not make the clearance. However, I do have a gas spring arm, which allows it to be elevated, and there's plenty of room. So just keep that in mind in case you do have a larger monitor. Maybe a gas spring arm would be a solution for you. Though I feel this is a category where the desk really performs well in, there are some slight improvements I would make to this desk. For starters, the distance between the floor and the keyboard tray I feel is rather short. I'm constantly finding myself in situations where either the top of my legs or the arms of my chair are hitting the keyboard tray. This can be uncomfortable, especially if you're sitting here for long periods of time. Now, I did mention about the idea of replacing the casters with larger ones. By doing this, I might be able to have a little bit more clearance and space for my legs, in which that will resolve this issue. Now, one solution is to also just lower your chair if you can. But again, if you don't have a chair where you can go ahead and adjust the height, it could be problematic. One additional item where I feel the desk has a disadvantage is actually how far away the bays are from your sitting position. In fact, if I want to go ahead and make adjustments on my gear, I'm constantly finding myself in situations where I'm actually having to bend my back to reach over in order to make those adjustments. Again, it doesn't seem too much like a big deal, but if you're working on something like an EQ and a compressor where you're constantly having to make adjustments, this could be a situation where you might strain your backs after doing this for longer periods of time. With these two items, it might seem like I'm nitpicking here. However, I want to be able to highlight all the potential issues that you might be facing if you choose to buy this desk. Now, if you don't see this as something that's problematic, then great, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. But again, it's worth mentioning this so that way you know what to anticipate when you purchase this desk for yourself. Now, with these two items that I did notice, I am going to go ahead and deduct a total of 2 points from this category. This leaves the total for this category an 8 out of 10. Not bad at all, but let's go ahead and see how well it does in the last category, the price and value. I think you already know how this category is going to go. This desk absolutely dominates the competition for price to value. Again, let me remind you, this desk cost $530 at the time of this recording. Good luck trying to find another desk that gives you this much in terms of features for the price. Now, again, there are problems with this desk, but I do feel that even if you were to spend the additional money to make the modifications on the desk, you would still have a far better workstation compared to the other ones that you could find out there on the market. Now, if you are the kind of person who does not wish to make these modifications, you just want to buy something that you know is going to work right off the bat, then yes, I would suggest looking at other companies to see what type of options are out there. However, as it is, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 10 out of 10 for price to value. After combining the scores across all of our categories, this gives us a total score of 42. If we divide this by 50, this gives us an 84% rating on the desk. And I agree with that. The desk is a really solid desk, especially for what you're paying for it. But there are issues, and I think Acme can address these. Now again, this is a cheap desk and it is manufactured in Taiwan, so I don't know if Acme will go through the process of even trying to address these issues, so you may have to live with what they provide. However, nonetheless, again, I feel this is a great desk and I'm happy to have it here in my studio. Now, I want to pass a question off to you guys. Do you feel that there's another desk out there that is better for the money? If so, go ahead and let me know in the comments what the desk is, and maybe I'll go ahead and take a look at it sometime. And with that being said, that's the end of this video. But before you leave, if you did enjoy this video, please consider giving us a like, plus also subscribing, hey, and maybe consider watching one of these other videos. And with that being said, it's been the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and happy mixing.